Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your man...
Welcome,
Welcome to Significant Lovers.
a podcast about relationships.
Happy Whirlwind Wednesday. One
Thank-
of our listeners came up with that.
Mm-hmm.
Or Wedlock Wednesday. This is not a Wedlock episode.
No, this is
This is a Whirlwind episode.
yeah.
A wild Wednesday.
Yeah. We are your hosts. We are two cousins. My name is
Yep.
Melissa.
I'm Kelly.
Actually, I'm Mel.
Yep. Also known as Mel and Kel.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm okay with people calling me Kelly.
Yeah, I'm okay with people calling me Melissa as well. But
Yeah.
I would say most of my friends call me Mel. So if you
Cute.
feel close to me, you can say Mel as well.
You're all close to us.
But thank you guys so much for joining. This is a really special episode because we're going to be joined later by Shannon McNamara of the podcast FluentlyForward.
Oh my god. This is crazy.
This is really a whirlwind because we have been such big fans of her and her podcast for a while now.
Yeah, I've been listening to it for like a year. I'm not sure when she started it, but I have so many memories just walking around listening to her podcast. And I actually in my head thought, wow, I would love to collaborate with her, but I thought she was kind of like out of our league or something.
Yeah,
So.
I think she is. And we
Yeah.
coincidentally, we were invited to this event by Glassbox Media, which was like a mixer
Yeah.
launch of their podcast. And we were even saying before, what if she was there? Like
Yeah.
thinking she wouldn't be, and then she was.
I know.
This is coincidences. It all like
coincidence.
life is so like kismet, the way
I
everything like
know.
works out that way. And so we met her there.
She was so nice.
We also met Kelly of Beyond the Blinds, who we're also a big fan of as well.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy as well because like Shannon is my middle name. And then
Serendipity.
Kelly is Kelly's name.
That's true. I know Kelly and Shannon. Mhm.
Crazy.
Yeah, so Shannon from Fluently Forward, her podcast is a lot about blind items and not, the celebrity gossip that you don't hear about under the covers, the underbelly of LA or whatever. But she also talks a lot about conspiracy theories and just other topics that she explores. I really like her podcast. She has such a soothing voice, too.
Yeah, and a lot of episodes she hosts by herself. I don't know
know.
how someone can do that.
I know.
It's really impressive to me.
Very brave. So she joins us today. We talk about John Mayer and Katy Perry.
But before we get into the episode, who are John Mayer and Katy Perry?
Yeah. So we're gonna do their little backstory before we get into the episode with Shannon. But we've talked about John a lot already on this podcast. Mel covered John and Taylor.
You can find that on our Patreon if
Yep.
you're interested.
So I'm not really gonna get into John Mayer's backstory because we've already heard it and that would be kind of repetitive. But I'll just remind you guys some things. That he was born October 16th, 1977. He's 6'3". I don't know. I just felt like including that. Yeah.
I did not know that
I know.
actually. That
He's tall, dark, and handsome.
that really makes a huge
It
difference.
does. Yeah, and if it means anything to anybody, he's a Libra. I don't know. He's from Connecticut. You guys might be like, I don't really know any songs by him. I think you do.
You do.
Gravity, Your Body is Wonderland, Daughters, No Such Thing. That's the one that's like, I wanna run through the halls of my high school.
I wanna scream at the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
I just found out there's no such thing as a real world.
Yep.
I don't know the rest.
Waiting on the World to Change. That's a very popular
That's
song.
like that was very commercialized.
Stop This Train, Half of My Heart. And he has a lot of great new songs, but I feel like those are like his more mainstream songs.
We just saw him in concert
saw him.
about a month ago as well.
We loved him. But it's a little awkward because most people hate him.
Yeah.
I don't know about most. I don't know about like the average American, but I feel like the average young person online.
Yes, that is so
hates
true.
him.
And like, I feel anyone who remembers his Playboy article from back in the day about Jessica Simpson but wasn't a fan of him, they probably have a bad taste in their mouth when they think of him.
Understandable.
Anybody who's a Taylor Swift fan hates him. Well, maybe not anybody. There might be a crossover. Actually, myself.
Yeah, I think some people like both their music. I think my friend Jenny, hi, she likes both of their music.
Oh, she does?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel a little awkward because my ex-boyfriend was obsessed with John Mayer.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing this for you, just so you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did make me appreciate him a little more. I never really paid too much attention to him.
I've been a big fan of John Mayer ever
Mel
since my freshman year of college. I was in an English class and people had to dissect a song as if it was a poem. And this girl in my class dissected a John Mayer song. I think it was Edge of Desire. I'm not sure.
I love that one.
And I just really, first of all, I really admired this girl. She just had such a great energy about her. And she was such a big fan of John Mayer. I wonder if she's listening. Emerson College. I don't remember your name, but I think we're Facebook friends. She was a very beautiful girl. And she just had such a good analysis of the song, and it made me realize how beautiful the song was. And I just became a big John Mayer fan after that, and I was really hardcore crushing on the guy who lived across the floor from me. And the song Edge of Desire really resonated with me at the time. Like, maybe
Don't say a word, come over and lie here with me.
Yeah, maybe this mattress will spin on its axis and find me on yours. Like, if you're ever deeply in your feels about somebody, that song will just hit you to your core. And that made me really obsessed with John Mayer. And he, even with that song, Edge of Desire, he has a live version from 2010 where he gives a speech before the song. If you're like really feeling it for somebody, I beg you, on YouTube, watch that clip.
I beg you.
I still to this day watch it like once a month, and it makes it hard for me to hate John Mayer.
Yeah, I mean, he has such a reputation as being a ladies' man, fuckboy, whatever you want to call him, playboy. But he does seem like a romantic at the same time. And then as for Katy Perry, I used to love her. Like, I loved her. As a huge fan of like her One of the Boys CD, and I saw her in concert with my dad.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
My dad actually, hi Dad, if you're listening. I remember he told me he was like fantasizing about leaving the show with her. Because that was his celebrity crush.
Really? You know who my dad's crush is? Gwen Stefani.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, kind of similar.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You know, I feel like she doesn't look too different from your mom. She just bleaches her hair.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. My dad, because my mom really wants us to do Gwen and Blake Shelton.
Oh.
If you guys want that, I'll do it. But my dad is like, I hate them together. She's way too good for him.
Who does your dad think she should be with?
I don't know. He was the other day at dinner. He was talking about how she used to be with the guitarist from No Doubt. I'm like, oh, wow.
That's true.
I was like, you really know a lot more about this than I would expect you to know.
That would actually be a good episode.
Her
and the guitarist. I feel like that's interesting. Because that's what that whole song, Don't Speak, is about.
That's what my dad was saying. I was like, how do you know this?
Yeah. My dad told me that too.
No way.
It must be a, like, Gen X baby boomer thing. But anyway, yeah, Katy, I loved her music. But I feel doing this research made me a little bit sad because I realized I really fell off her. But I think her music just changed.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I don't think it adapted with the times well enough.
But I feel like it also became really generic and just poppy, like Roar. I don't know. That's when I stopped liking her music.
She fell into that trap that people did with the inspirational ballads. Everybody had to be inspirational.
Yeah. I think that sometimes people get really big and then their lyrics just start to get very generic. And
I was just about to sing, I wanna see you be brave.
Yeah,
but that's Sarah Bareilles.
But it's a similar song. It was the same time as that song that what's that girl? Taylor Swift endorsed her basically.
Fight song.
Yeah. This is my fight song.
Take back. Wait, but Katy also had Firework. And how did Roar go?
That Firework was still on her, what's it called? Teenage Dream album.
Yeah.
I still like Teenage Dream. I think I bought that CD.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good album. But then Prism is when, I don't know. I think that she just started to phone it in.
How does Roar go?
Wait.
I don't...
You're gonna see me roar.
Yeah, it's very commercial.
Na, na, na.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Katy.
a far difference from you're so
So
gay
gay.
and you don't even like boys.
No, you don't even like.
You're gonna hang yourself with your
H&M scarf. Yeah.
That's
That's very edgy.
Yeah.
I loved her and Lily Allen at the same time. I used to think they were kind of the same. Like, Lily Allen was the British version.
Yes.
They're both very cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeky girls.
Yeah, she really strayed from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She stopped being very cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, John Mayer, just a reminder about his dating history or whatever, most people know he dated Jessica Simpson, Jennifer Aniston. Apparently, I didn't really know about this though, he briefly dated makeup artist Rena Hammer in 2010 and Renee Zellweger in 2011.
Yeah, I don't even think I said that in my episode.
But, I don't know. Who knows if
Yeah.
it's really true. And supposedly secret relationship with Shanae Grimes.
For Degrassi.
Who was on Degrassi. Yeah.
Darcy.
And then I also read that Kim Kardashian was linked to John Mayer after they were spotted out in New York in 2010.
I didn't know that either.
And yeah, John, he had this reputation of being a bad boy, but he has been quoted many times saying he wanted to have a girlfriend, wants to make a connection with someone, but seems like he was having trouble around this time. So yeah, Katy Perry. Let's get into her backstory. So Catherine Elizabeth Hudson is her name. Born October 25th, 1984. So she's a Scorpio. Me too. She was born in Santa Barbara, California, and her parents were Pentecostal pastors. Apparently both her parents became pastors after wild youths, which I just thought was interesting. I don't know. It's like they had a crazy time, and then they decided to turn to Jesus. So I don't know. She has English, German, Irish, and Portuguese ancestry.
Oh, we have two out of four of those.
We're Irish and Portuguese too. I feel like I can see it.
Yeah, she seems related.
The big eyes.
Yes.
I feel like Portuguese people have big eyes.
Hooded eyes.
Yeah. Yep. She has an older sister named Angela and a younger brother named David. They moved a lot. Oh, classic.
No, all these celebrities did.
If you want to be famous, guys, or if it might be too late for you, but if you want your kid to be famous, then move around a lot.
If you grew up in the same house your whole life, there's no chance for you. Sorry.
They moved around a lot. Her family was very religious and strict, and they didn't have a lot of money, and apparently they used food stamps even. But they mostly lived in Santa Barbara. I think they would move to other places and then come back to Santa Barbara and then leave and then come back. She wasn't allowed to listen to secular music at all, and I guess hearing the song You Oughta Know really influenced her.
I can see that. She does seem very heavily influenced by Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, especially that album, One of the Boys. It's a lot more guitar driven and trying to be edgy and stuff. And she would sneak CDs from her friends because she wasn't allowed to buy secular music. She sang in the choir, she took singing lessons, and she got a guitar at age 13. When she was a little bit older, she went to Nashville and recorded demos and got signed to some label. And she had a debut album in 2001 called Katy Hudson, which was a contemporary Christian album. But then it didn't really have that much success. And she changed her name to Perry, which is her mom's maiden name. Which I think is a good stage name,
I
It's her
think
mom's
so.
maiden name. It's almost her real name.
Yeah.
It's not like she just totally made up a new name. Yeah, so then she moved to LA at age 17, and she transitioned to secular music. She worked on a record called Fingerprints, and some of those songs later made it onto her album One of the Boys, and she sold some songs that she wrote to other artists, like I Do Not Hook Up to Kelly Clarkson.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I think is so funny, because it's just so interesting that she was a Christian artist and then has this song that's like, I do not hook up. Like, you know.
Do not. It is kind of
prude.
It is prude. Kind of judgmental of people who do hook up.
Yeah, but it's just so interesting because then later in her career, she was perceived as so much more sexual and, you know, bon appetit. It's like people eating her body, basically. So it's just crazy how much she changed. She had a lot of, like, you know, musical starts and stops. I feel like that happens a lot. You know, like you're signed to a label and then they drop you and then you start another project and then it doesn't work. And, you know, she had a lot of stuff like that going on. Working with a lot of producers. In 2006, she was dating Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes and is in the music video for Cupid's Chokehold. I loved that song back in middle school. Do you remember it?
Is that like to the left?
No,
Wait, that's
Cupid Shuffle. This is the song that's like, take a look at my girlfriend.
She's the only one I got. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't the only one who originally thought of Cupid Shuffle, though.
Yeah. I know. It seems that's one of those songs where you would think the name is maybe like, take a look at my girlfriend or something.
I thought it was called Girlfriend.
Yeah. No, it's Cupid's Chokehold. She was dropped to Columbia Records, and then she was signed by Capitol Records. Apparently, the chairman there, Jason Flom, was convinced that she could become a star. And he paired her with Dr. Luke, and they wrote I Kissed a Girl and Hot and Cold together.
Is he the Kesha guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And those songs were on the EP, You're So Gay.
That
does not hold up
that
today.
would never fly.
Would never fly, I know. I have the CD just in case that song ever gets taken down, but you probably could. It's definitely not PC.
When you say you're so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then she had the album One of the Boys in 2008, and this really was a hit album. It had I Kissed a Girl, Hot and Cold, You're So Gay, Thinking of You, and Waking Up in Vegas. I mean, You're So Gay wasn't that big of a hit, but that's like 5 singles.
Yeah, Hot and Cold was huge.
I know,
that's to me like 7th grade.
Yep. Her and Travis McCoy broke up in 2008, but then they got back together. Then they broke up again in 2009.
Okay.
She met and became engaged to Russell Brand in 2009, and in 2010, that's when her album Teenage Dream came out with the songs Teenage Dream, California Girls, E.T., Last Friday Night, The One That Got Away, and Firework.
Those are big hits.
I know. She was on a roll.
Last Friday night.
I know.
Yeah, we danced on tabletops. Think we kissed, but I forgot. Oh.
They were all such big hits. It's crazy.
The One That Got Away.
So yeah, that's background. And then now we have our interview with Shannon McNamara from Fluently Forward.
Here it is. Well, welcome, Shannon, to the podcast. We're so happy to have you on.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
is
Happy
crazy.
to be here. Happy to talk relationships. I love the name of your podcast. Cool concept. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was hard for us to come up with the name. What about you? How did you come up with Fluently Forward?
Oh my God. It was a Tumblr URL I had back in high school. And everyone used to like change because people wrote everything on their Tumblr. It was basically like a diary. And then you would just like change the URL once people found it. So then that way it was like a secret.
Yeah.
And I had like all of these different, I don't know, phrases that I thought were so cool. And Fluently Forward was one of them. And I don't know, it just like stayed with me. So then that was what I started my TikTok on. And by the time it grew, I was like, well, if I change my username, no one's going to know it. So I don't know. It was just random, but I like the alliteration.
I should know this.
I think it works.
Did you start off just doing TikToks and then made the podcast after?
Yeah, TikTok's all about like blind items. And I know now, like, I'm not really on TikTok anymore, but I know now there's tons of people doing TikTok or like blind item TikToks, which is a little bit spicy because I feel like there's a lot of people whose entire content is just reading somebody's blind item, and I'm like, okay, you gotta like give a shout out or put your own opinion in there to make it a story. Otherwise, if I was NT, I would be like, I'm gonna go on a rampage and like get all of these accounts taken down.
Yeah.
I know.
That's so funny, though, because I feel like that ended up being such good marketing for your podcast, but unintentionally.
Yeah, it worked well. I'm really thankful to TikTok. That's why, like, you know, now if it got deleted, I'm like, oh, that's fine. But a year ago, I would have been like, absolutely not. Like, we need this app to stick around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I saw on your account that you said something about not really doing blind items as much anymore, so I feel bad that we asked you to do it.
Oh, no, like I still love to work them in. I just don't like making TikTok videos about them anymore because people would be like, do it on this person, do it on that person. And I think on TikTok or just like short form media in general, people take something and run with it. So in a podcast episode, you could be like, oh, there's blind items about Bella Hadid and drugs, but here's what she said, here's what they said, here's what I think. And if you just read that blind item on TikTok, then a bunch of kids go crazy with it. And they're like, Bella Hadid, are you on drugs? And it's like, okay, well, I want to be a part of that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you can add like nuance to it. And plus, like in a short soundbite, people just like take that as your opinion and they start like fighting you. You're like, in the episode, I talked about this.
Isn't that crazy when you put out like a clip of an episode and they're like, well, also these 5 things.
Yeah, you're like, I know. I researched it. I know.
I feel bad, Mel, because we kind of split the duties. Like, I edit the podcast and she does more like the marketing, I guess. And I feel bad that you have to see that. Although I always told her, don't read the comments. But
yeah,
it's okay. But yeah, so today we're talking about Katy Perry and John Mayer. And so John Mayer, he's such a reoccurring character on our podcast. Somehow he always comes up into every single episode. Like he's a looming.
All the time.
He's like a person in the background and he ends up like in an article about somebody. And even if he's not in the episode, we find a way to relate everything to John Mayer, and we have
he's like your third co-host. He doesn't even know it, but yeah, he gets credit.
He really is. We have such a soft spot for him too, and I know that pretty much everybody doesn't like him.
Okay, you guys told me that, and that blew me away because so many people, and even before Taylor Swift, like just with Jessica Simpson and Jennifer Aniston alone, people were like, this man's the Antichrist. So I'm dying to hear like what makes you John Mayer apologist.
Well, first of all, I feel like if you were watching a teen drama, like he's the character, like the good-looking guy who's, you know, like the Chuck Bass, like he's an asshole, but like he's complicated and
he is complicated.
Like you kind of like him for his faults, and I don't think anything he's done has been like terribly awful, like terribly awful. Like it's been pretty bad, but
you're right. It is like standard douche behavior, and you're right. If he was on the CW, we'd be like, I can fix him.
Yes, exactly. And like, what you see is what you get. I think, like, you know that he's not a great guy, but like, I feel like there's all these other, like, he's not. Well, maybe he is pretending to be nicer than he is, but I just think like we can expect that kind of behavior from him by now. Like, we don't have to act shocked by it. Maybe that's like giving him a pass. I don't know. Maybe that's not like, good.
Who would you rather? Would you rather John Mayer, who's a douche up front, or some guy with like glasses in San Francisco who's like, oh, like I'm ethically non-monogamous and like I'm like a feminist, so that's why like you should give me head first. And it's like, well, okay, you're actually a douche in disguise. And John Mayer's like, here I am. I have chlamydia, you know?
Yeah. And people really take what he says and spin it. Like, I know he was on Call Her Daddy, and he said something about, like, he made a joke about serenading his dates, like, naked with a guitar and stuff. And it was obviously a joke, and then people were like, oh my God, he's such a creep, like, blah, blah, blah. And the Taylor Swift episode, like, I feel like that really made us a little bit more sympathetic for him, because I know the age difference is bad, but there's really actually not that much evidence that they dated.
Okay, there's none. Have you heard the Martin Johnson theory?
Yes.
Okay, so like I'm really curious when Speak Now re-records come out, is John Mayer, I feel like he's got to say something, and I feel like he's going to say, hi, we actually never dated. Can you please, I'd like to be removed from this narrative.
He kind of did say that. He kind of did say, like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And then Taylor Swift was asked about that and was like, well, if he thinks it's about him, then he must have done something wrong. It's like, not that he thinks it's about him. Everybody thinks that it's about him.
And it's called Dear John.
Yeah.
I remember her quote. She was like, oh, he thinks it's about him. How presumptuous, which was so Hermione Granger of her. You know, it's like, no, it's the name. Like,
right.
Just within that timeline, like, she was also dating Taylor Lautner. So, like, how does it really line up? Like,
Oh, yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If you actually put all the dates together. Oops. If you put the dates together, it seems like she was dating Taylor at the same time. So
Yeah. We'll find out.
weird. So, yeah. But I think we wanted to do this episode because, yeah, John has a reputation for being such a playboy. But it seems like from the outside, he was really in love with Katy Perry. We'll see what it was actually like. I mean, we don't know what it was actually like, but we'll see how the relationship went. But yeah, he often talks about wanting to be married, or, you know, he wishes he had a long-term partner, and he has this kind of sad vibe to himself too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you say that's why you wanted to do this episode?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I am a fan of his music, which definitely influences my opinion
I mean,
of him.
he's like a freak with that guitar. He can do anything with it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't deny he's like insanely talented. He's really talented. He's got like the brooding, dark feature musician type of thing going for him. And I agree with you. It is weird how with the whole narrative of Taylor Swift, he seemed so avoidant and unavailable, and also like, you know, things that other women have said about him. And then all of a sudden you see him wearing matching sweaters with Katy Perry on the Ellen show. And so many people, when they talk about the Taylor Swift Katy Perry feud, they're like backup dancers. I'm like, you don't think it had anything to do with the fact that you couldn't tie this man down and then he's wearing a matching sweater with Katy Perry like
I
later?
know.
So true.
That would bug me. Like, I'd certainly be thinking about it. So yeah, maybe there's something there.
That's so true.
It is crazy the two of them had such feuds with Taylor Swift. It's very interesting.
Here's the thing, like, she has a lot of feuds with people. Like,
Yeah.
I know of all of her feuds, but if I have to think of who, I don't know, even like Kim Kardashian, she's feuded with Taylor Swift, but who else has she feuded with? Like, I just can't really.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, I mean, there's a lot of drama around her.
And wait, that's so true about Katy Perry, because I feel like Taylor Swift feuds with people by association. Like with Scooter Braun, it's like just because he was associated with Kanye West. Even like Justin Bieber, just because they were associated with him.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wonder if like just because Katy Perry was dating her ex or like dating someone who wronged her, it's like everyone has to pick a side.
Yeah, you're my
Maybe.
team or theirs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But so what, like, how would you describe this couple, Katy Perry and John Mayer, like in 3 words?
Oh yeah, we usually do this thing where we describe a couple in 3 words. I would say fun,
Okay.
deep, because it seems like they had deep feelings for each other, but I'd also say unstable. We always end with a negative one.
I like that. Yeah, and what was that song they did together? Was it Who You Love? It was like a very like tampon commercial, like music video kind of.
On the ball.
Yes. Yeah. And they weren't afraid to do all of these coupley things together that most Hollywood couples stray away from because they know that eventually they're going to break up and it's going to haunt them.
Right. Well, should we get into the whole
Timeline?
story? Okay. John Mayer and Katy Perry. Okay, I always thought that they met in like 2014, around that time, started dating. But I came across this article from today about how they actually met and hung out the night before she met Russell Brand. I mean, it seems a little like too serendipitous to be true, but the article came out in 2010, but this would have been 2009, how I guess she met John Mayer at a bar in New York after they were sending flirty texts to each other for a couple weeks. And this is the source from E! News at the time. It said they never met in person, and she went to meet him there at the bar after she was at a Jay-Z concert at Madison Square Garden. John had been at the Jay-Z concert for performance and asked Katy to meet up later that night. And then it said, John thought she was so hot and fun and was into her. They were so flirty and all over each other that night at the bar. They really liked each other. Their personalities just clicked, and they were flirting and dancing, and it was on. But apparently the next day, that was the VMAs, and Russell Brand was hosting it, and she met him there, and then they started talking, and then they got married, and John Mayer just kind of got forgotten.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah. Isn't that when John Mayer's reputation was really bad, too? Because that was,
Yes.
like, right after the Playboy article had come out.
Yeah.
And he was, like, off the grid
Well, also, don't you wonder too, like they met up at a bar. I'm like, what bar? Like if you're two famous people, like is it a members only bar? Is it just like so expensive that people won't bother you? Like I always want to know the details.
I know.
Apparently it was called, I have written down, Gold Bar. I don't know where that is or what that is.
I'm gonna look it up. Yeah.
It was 2009, so who knows if it like even exists anymore. But yeah. I know, for this episode, I was looking up like restaurants they went to and stuff because I was so curious.
Oh, okay. It's like a nightclub and it's got the $4 signs. So like that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Jeez. Okay.
Not for us.
Yeah, so then she was with Russell Brand and they were married, but then they got divorced. February 2012 is when they reached their divorce settlement. And then around the same time, what John was up to, he had all the drama with Taylor Swift. That was like around this time. He also had cord granuloma, which is a non-cancerous mass that grows on your vocal cord. So he wasn't able to sing and he had to get like all his treatment done to it. So he was kind of not performing, not touring or anything.
That's sad.
I know.
Yeah, I remember when Tovlo had like something on her vocal cords and she didn't speak for like 2 months. She just carried around a notepad with her and she said it was like such a traumatic experience. Yeah. Right? Like that's your livelihood and it could be gone. It's like
you
crazy.
don't know. Yeah.
That must be the same thing as John because I think he also couldn't talk and had to just write on a piece of paper.
Isn't that brutal? Yeah.
I know. And then I read that Katy, after Russell Brand, was apparently dating the guitarist of Florence and the Machine. But I think it was just a casual thing. I don't know. But then Katy and John, their first rumors of them dating came up in July 2012. There were things in tabloids like Daily Mail saying that they had hooked up. And at this time, Katy was 27 and John was 34.
27. Why do I imagine? I just always think Katy Perry is older than she is. 27 is young.
Maybe because she was already divorced. Maybe at 27.
Because I'm 28 now, so I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this all happened when she was 27.
Isn't that wild? 27 and 34. Okay, well, he's moving up from 19, so there we go. Allegedly.
Yeah, more appropriate. And yeah, I was wondering if like we don't know, maybe he texted her because she was divorced now. Like, I don't know how they got back in touch, but they were hanging out. And then there's all these articles coming out of them together. There's a picture of them in a car. John's driving. He's smiling. He has long hair. Apparently they went out to dinner at Pace Restaurant in LA and Chateau Marmont for a drink. And I was thinking that he kind of looks like Russell Brand.
No, I was just thinking that too.
When he has long hair.
And he kind of looks like Orlando Bloom too.
Yeah, she likes long hair. She doesn't like a buzz military cut.
Yeah. So yeah, they're together. There's stories that they're all over each other, making out at a pool in Beverly Hills. They're seen together a bunch. John's often wearing a wide brim hat.
Oh my God, his hat era. I hated that. I hate guys in hats. And like Enrique Iglesias does it. Ian Somerhalder does it. Like, why are you wearing that hat? Remember when Harry Styles had the long hair and the hat? Yeah. Maybe it's just like a thing that hot guys go through.
I think it makes sense if they're balding, of course. Like, but if to have your hair, I don't really understand the point, especially if there's a chance you might lose it eventually.
Also, I think like it covers the baldness, but I think it disrupts the hair, so it's like easier for other things to fall out. Like,
that's true.
Yeah,
because he's going for the whole Western thing. He's Montana, right?
That's true. Yeah, it's part of his brand.
Oh, does he live in Montana? I don't even know this about him.
He does. Well, I don't know if he does all the time, but he at least like has a house. I think after all the bad reputation going on, he's like, I'm gonna go jerk off in the mountains and not bother anyone. Moved to Montana. A source told People they almost acted like they've been a couple for a long time. It definitely didn't seem like a new relationship, and there were reports they're having sleepovers at his house, which is very normal for
sleepovers. Don't you love how tabloids write something? They're like, it's a slumber party at John Mayer's house. You're like, okay, they're having an anal, but whatever.
Yeah. She brought her pillow. Yeah. So when was this? This was July, August, but later in August, it was reported that it was over.
Oh. Already?
Wait, so it only lasted, what, like a couple months?
Hang on, guys.
Okay.
I thought the same thing. When I started researching this, I was like, oh no, wait a second. This is only like a 2-month relationship. But no, they broke up, but they get back together.
Yeah.
They broke up. I thought this was kind of funny. Online, someone named Natalie Finn wrote, Katy Perry and John Mayer don't seem to be doing whatever it was they were doing anymore. Yeah.
Sleepovers. Yeah.
Yeah. One source told people they'd end up as friends and that it wasn't serious, but another source said that Katy was really upset and John did a number on her.
I will say that's probably true. He seems like the guy that does a number on you.
I know. And he cut his hair, actually.
Okay.
Oh my God, little breakup cut, you know? Yeah.
Yep.
He's starting
Short.
anew.
But, okay, a couple weeks later, it was back on, I guess.
That's when you know the sex is good. Otherwise, it would have been like, okay, like I already dated him.
Yeah, they were seen at the FYF festival in LA, which I didn't know stood for Fuck Yeah Fest.
Never heard of that before.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think it exists anymore, but that is just so 2012, I think. Yeah, fest. Everything was fuck yeah. Yeah, John was wearing a cowboy hat, had his arms around Katy, who was in a floral dress. So 2012. Mm-hmm. And they went to a strip club together in Las Vegas. There were pictures of there with friends, and they were there till 5 a.m.
Oh.
That seems like an activity they would do together.
I know.
Yeah, I know. So October, this is 2012 still, it's both of their birthdays. They're both October babies. I don't know if you're into astrology. I don't really know anything about it, but
October is...
He's a Libra, I guess, and she's a Scorpio.
Oh, so they're different signs.
They're different, yeah. I don't know anything about
that.
I know like Libras are balanced, Scorpios are like a little bit like secretive. So maybe there's
is he the
there.
Scorpio?
No, she's a Scorpio.
She is. Oh,
I'm a Scorpio as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was both. That must have been fun for them. Both of their birthdays in October. They celebrated his at ABC Kitchen in New York, and then she had a vampire. Oh, you've been there?
Yeah, it's a good spot, but it's like not super. It's like kind of. I mean, it's expensive, but it's not like I always imagine celebrities are only eating plates that are like each entree is $200. You can get something there for like $30.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Little down to earth.
Yeah.
Apparently, I mean, who knows if they really did that, but. She had a vampire-themed birthday party.
I love it.
And there's pictures of them. Yeah, because we love vampires. There's pictures of them being very kissy and smiling. He is, for some reason, I think, dressed as Woody Harrelson's character from Zombieland, which...
Okay, the one who was like into Twinkies. I remember that. That's like, but that's zombies. But I don't know. Maybe he like was confused.
Yeah. And Kristen Stewart was there.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm. Did she just go as herself? She was like, "I am the vampire."
Yeah, maybe. That same time, Katy and Russell were actually at the same Lakers game. Russell Brand.
Oh.
But apparently they didn't interact.
Okay, a little cold shoulder.
They go to Santa Barbara and maybe meet Katy's parents because that's where she's from. They're just seen out and about a lot together. And I thought this was funny. In December 2012, she posted a picture of John dressed as Santa, and he's just making such a sultry expression. He's like posing like this. And...
Oh my God, wait, I'm going to look this up. John Mayer as Santa.
It's kind of cute.
It is a little cute. I could see some people being creeped out by it, but I like it.
Why do I feel like he's always doing that face of like a little bit of like a downturned smirk and those eyes that just stare through you?
No, I would fall for him like so easily, like despite all the warnings.
I do think, I mean, we don't know him, but I feel like he's trying to reform.
I hope so.
Today, I don't know. Yeah, so cue Christmas. In January, they went to Hawaii together. They went on an ATV tour in the mud. Katy has no makeup on. But how did they get pictures of them in Hawaii?
I know.
Right, in the mud. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know. Like, would the paparazzi also be on ATVs?
They're in the mud. They're like
That's such a
camouflaged
good
in the trees.
question.
Yeah, because I feel like some areas like that, like you have to off-road in order to even be there.
Well, here's the question. She had no makeup on. Was it a good no makeup look, or was it like she looks like shit?
I didn't save the picture here, but I thought it looked okay. I thought it looked good.
Okay, then it was
You looked
called.
fine.
That's how
Yeah.
I do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, do you look good
Yeah.
or do you look bad?
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. But then later, so this is January 2013, there's this weird article that says that John Mayer and Allison Williams, who played Marnie on Girls, I don't know if you watched that show.
Well,
But,
I do, and there's a blind item that involves Allison Williams here.
Do you want to read it?
Well, it was about her wedding, but it says
that is later.
this A-plus list singer took back her former A-list singer ex yet again, but he did the same thing he always does this past weekend, get phone numbers of women, even while he is actually at the same event as the A-plus lister, because he always needs someone to fill up his free time. The A-plus lister, so Katy Perry, finds out, and they split for a month or two, and then she takes him back. So apparently, even at his, alleged ex's wedding, he's going with his current girlfriend and like getting girls' numbers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why did Allison Williams even invite him to her wedding in the first place?
Well, okay, so this is in the article. Apparently, he was friends with her future husband,
Oh.
Ricky Van Veen, who's the College Humor founder.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I know. I don't know how John and him became friends, but he was friends with him. And then there's this article that comes out that says him and Allison Williams were seen at an event together, and then they got dinner, and some people said it was just innocent, but someone said that he had his arm around Allison's waist, and it looked a little suspicious.
Yeah, I feel like John Mayer is the type, like he could go out with your grandma and he'd hit on your grandma, He's just got like that, yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, that like later, a couple years later, they go to her wedding. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I know. 2 months after that story, news comes out that John and Katy have broken up again.
Classic.
Second time. News comes out that he's announced his first tour in 3 years because of his throat issues. And she's in the studio again. And sources say it's because of conflicting schedules. Someone said, "It's not over until it's over. You have to see how things play out. She's leaving the window open. They both have been so focused on work."
Oh my God, they didn't even know that was going to inspire her. What's that song? Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over. And if I think it over, it's like, she was like reading the tabloid. She's like, I'm going to put that in my journal. Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's so funny.
I know. The weird thing about Katy Perry is all of her relationships are like this. Like even Travie McCoy from what's that band? They did Cupid's Chokehold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Gym Class Hero.
Yeah, Gym Class Hero. That was apparently off and on, and then Orlando Bloom, their relationship was off and on too. So
She's got that voodoo clam or something because they keep. Well, that's the thing. Like, is she breaking up with them or are they breaking up with her? Like,
Yeah,
I know.
and is she the one coming back or are they begging her back?
I don't know why, but I find that concept, I'm like, hot. Like breaking up and then getting back together because you just like can't stand it. I'm like, oh God, love that. Yeah.
it is very hot. It was abrupt though because they seemed, outwardly we don't really know what's going on, but they seemed really happy. And she had a heart-shaped ring she was wearing on her ring finger. And I just gotta ask, do celebrities do this on purpose? I feel like I always see them being like, she's wearing a ring on her ring finger.
Yeah.
They like, I've been in like 15 relationships and I've never once been like, get me a ring to put on my ring finger. First of all, because I'm like, as a girl, like that's gonna like terrify a guy once you're past the age of like 25, you know?
And also, they haven't been dating that long, really. It's only been like a year to be wearing.
But don't we encounter this all the time?
Yeah, they have a promise ring. Like, what does that mean?
I always see somebody, I think even like Kristen Stewart maybe, like people are wearing rings on their ring finger.
Yeah.
Who does that? I don't know.
Maybe it's just like a secret code when like you kind of want like a little bit of a bump, or like let's say John Mayer is like allegedly like hitting on women in front of you or something, you go out and get paparazzi'd wearing something on your ring finger, and then all these news articles would be like, oh, John Mayer and Katy like cement it even more, and then you'll be like,
yep,
yeah, that's right.
That's so true.
I would love to ask somebody what's up with the rings. So they broke up, and he was on Ellen, and she asked him about it, and he just kind of said,
I missed that too. Like everybody was like, Ellen was so invasive. I'm like, she was, but also she asked the questions we want to know. Like, I don't want a celebrity to come on and promote their new book. Who are you fucking? Who are you fucking? Like, tell the audience right now, you know?
It was all in good fun. Like, people are so sensitive these days.
I know people are like, she made Taylor Swift cry. I'm like, I watched that video. Like, there weren't any tears. She's fine.
Yeah. Well, what do they say that about when she pranked her?
There was like a time where she was like, would you date him? Would you date him? Would you date him? And, you know, you're supposed to say like, yay or nay. And Taylor was like, I really don't want to do this. And I think that's because the media was pairing her with different guys. But like, you know, come on. Like, you put Dear John style for Harry Styles. Like, come on, girl.
She plays into it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Katy would answer those questions, actually.
Katy would be like, him, and then I would split up with him for a month, and then I'd go back to him again.
Yeah. I know, because I won't read the whole thing, but Ellen was like, I love you, my thoughts are with you. Wait, no, because she said, last time I saw you, you were with Katy Perry. And he said, correct. And she said, I love you, my thoughts are with you. It's nobody's business, but... And then he just says, like, yeah, I'm trying to be private, whatever. And then he kind of goes on to say that he starts rambling about how he used to loved scotch, but it was poisoned. It's kind of funny. I'm just getting to that age where your body doesn't just shake everything off, and it didn't help that I really loved scotch. It's just like applying poison to your body. It's like a shellac of poison. It's just delicious, wonderful poison that makes you not care how late you're out or where you're going. But I had to really say I like singing and writing more than I like delicious scotch, so I had to dial it down, and I'm a little more boring now.
Oh, is that a metaphor for Katy?
Oh, no, I don't know, but...
That made me want a glass of scotch. I'm like, oh my God, especially because scotch is delicious. Like, I've had it before. No, it's not. Like, you know, it's delicious cheesecake. Like,
It's not. It just made me wonder about what was going on with him. Like, was he drinking too much?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, and then he's like, that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, all the blinds just say that, like, he would cheat on Katy Perry so they would split and then get back together. And then he would, like, cheat, so then she'd break up with him for a bit, but then they'd get back together. So I wonder if that was, like, you know, trying to do the whole thing of, like, yeah, like, I made out with a girl at a club, but that's because I have a drinking problem.
Oh, yeah. Using that as a cover-up.
Yep. I know. It's interesting to hear you say that, because then there's stories like this was on Radar Online. I don't know if we can trust them, but that Katy and Russell still talked and that bothered John, but also that Katy was upset that John still flirted with other girls. And there's a quote that says, she knew that she could push John's buttons by comparing his flaws to what she saw was great in Russell, which he hated.
Ooh, that's a good toxic move, though. That would get under a guy's skin. Like, I could see both of that being true for both of them.
Maybe. And yeah, around this time I saw a bunch of headlines. I didn't really look too far into it, that John was sending flirty texts to Rihanna.
Okay, should we talk about the blind item?
Yeah,
because I
let's
would
do
have
it.
thought that like was fake, but there was a blind I pulled here that says this A+ list singer Katy Perry used to be best friends with this other A+ list singer Rihanna. Back in the day, if they had been in the same place at the same time, they would have got together. Not now. Neither of them can stand each other, and when they had the chance to meet this past week, they blew it off. It all revolves around drugs and a guy that both of them hooked up with, and that would be John Mayer. But when I saw, like, those names in there, I'm like, John Mayer and Rihanna. Like, I just can't see it. But I don't know. They are both kind of, like, dark, complicated individuals.
Yeah,
maybe.
So interesting, because she also came up in the Justin Timberlake episode that he supposedly hooks up with her as well.
I could see that. Remember them when they collabed, like, with that song Rehab?
Yeah. But I feel like she's too good for all these guys. Like,
I know.
She is.
What is she doing with them?
I mean, look at her current man. She's, like, too good for him, too.
I know. That's, and like Chris
Why
Brown,
does she have
too.
the worst taste? Rihanna. Oh.
She had good taste when her and Cara Delevingne were, like, maybe allegedly hooking up. I'm like, I'm a fan of that. Big fan of, like, two hot women dating.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe there's truth to that.
Okay, so they're texting.
Yeah. Flirting, texting. So her and John, still broken up. There was a Glamour article that said Katy hired a heartbreak coach to get through this second
I love
breakup.
that,
I know.
actually. That's sweet.
I love that too. I wish everybody could do that.
I know.
Yeah.
That I feel like that's when you need it most,
It seems like it didn't work, though, if they got back together.
She's like, coach me to get better so then that way I can get back on the horse and then I'll see you again in 6 months.
And then, so May 2013, there were also reports that Katy Perry and Robert Pattinson went to a wedding rehearsal together. Just have to mention it also because of our past.
Yeah. Okay, so Kristen was at the party. Rob Pattinson. Hollywood really is just like a big circle.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't believe that Katy and Rob ever got together, though.
I know. There's more.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then, guys, June 2013, it's back on. They're back together. He was seen leaving her house in LA, and they were seen in Greenwich Village, Bowery Hotel. Everybody goes there. Mm-hmm. Katy was on the cover of Vogue, and there's a whole interview with her, but it's kind of awkward because it was before they were back together. So she's kind of talking about him in past tense and everything, and she said, "It's over. I was madly in love with him. I still am madly in love with him. Beautiful mind, tortured soul. I do have to figure out why I'm attracted to these broken birds."
Dude, I love that. Keeping it real.
I know. When people just admit things like that,
Yeah, it's very relatable. Like, we've all been there before.
Yeah. And she also told the magazine about Rob and Kristen. She said, "I sent her," meaning Kristen Stewart, "I sent her a text message saying, I know you've seen all this stuff, but, I would never disrespect you. I'm not that person. I'm just trying to be a friend to him, but it's unfortunate that I do have a set of tits."
What?
Well, I don't like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Also, like, trying to be a friend to him, if you're on texting basis with Kristen Stewart, just don't be a friend to Rob Pat. Like, I'm sure he's got other friends. But for me during a breakup, I'm like, I will, like, that other person that you broke up with will now be my enemy. Like, I'm not going to be mature.
I know.
Yeah.
But what do you think of this?
Well, I do think I've realized, like, even with a lot of my guy friends, like, when they go through a breakup or something, they cannot talk about it with each other. They don't want to talk about a breakup with other guys. They always need a girl to like talk
Play
about
therapist
feelings.
or something for a little bit. Yeah.
So I could maybe see that, but
it does
the pair of tits thing.
Right? Like, that's what makes it so sexual. She could have been like,
I know.
"Oh, like, I'm being a friend, but you know how these tabloids make it out to be." Instead, she's like, "Oh, like, I'm trying to be a friend, but I've got like these awesome melons that like he just can't get his hands off of." It's like,
especially since Kristen is like flat chested, kind of like.
I know. I don't know if she was trying to say that people are being sexist.
Oh, maybe.
Like,
I would have not. If someone sent me that text, I would have not interpreted it that way.
I would block if somebody was like being a friend to my ex and then they're like, "Sorry that I have a pair of tits," I would be like, "You're blocked." Like, yeah.
But yeah, it might have been innocent. She maybe was like, the media is making it.
Because I have tits. They're making it seem like we're together.
I do think Kristen was probably fine. Well, I don't know. I can't pin her down.
Yeah, she's unpredictable. She also said about John Mayer, she said, "He pulled away. That was a big hello for me. I realized I could lose the person I loved, and I had to deal with some things, issues that I think a lot of women have. You can be strong in one aspect of your life, but submissive in another. In relationships, it was hard for me to speak up and set boundaries. I think a lot of that was to do with the fear of loss. The men I have gone for are challenging, yes, but they're also wildly intelligent and poetic. I'm not interested in taming anyone. I'm pretty wild myself."
God, I like that. I like her style. I like what she's saying. Like, yeah, I'm into it.
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. I don't know. I feel like most people are not so blasé about being with a bad boy or, she's like, "Yeah, I like it."
Yeah, most people are just like, "Oh, like, they're still my friend, but with the schedule it didn't work out." And I'm always like, screw that. Like, I want to relate to you. Like, tell me a little nugget like this, and then it gets me on your side because I'm like, wow, like I connect with it.
Pretty cool.
That's so true.
She's doing her Prism album. gotta admit, I used to really like Katy Perry, but that's kind of when I fell off on her.
Yeah. Wait, that was like Dark Horse, right?
Think so.
Maybe. But
Yeah,
like,
I think you're right. I think that was that.
She hasn't really had like a banger in the last 5
know.
years.
Yeah. Was that Swish Swish?
No, that was the Witness album.
Oh yeah, that's when she did Bon Appetit, baby.
Yeah. I know, I'm randomly an expert now on her discography. I was listening to some of her music I'm like, oh yeah, I want to just see what was going on, and now I'm worried it has ruined my algorithm. But
Oh yeah, you'll be getting a lot of Katy.
yeah. No, Katy, I love you, no offense, but yeah. Okay, so then, yeah, they're back together, though. Her and John are back together. It got kind of confusing because the article was about their breakup, but they are together, and he performs at Summerfest in Milwaukee, and he does this whole long rambling speech about Katy. Well, we think you can infer it's about Katy before a song, and he says, okay, it's kind of a long paragraph. Should I read?
Yeah.
Okay, he says, I was just getting to know a girl, and I started really reconsidering how everything was going to be. Right as I was putting a needle through my neck because I was still getting to know this girl. Okay, so he's talking about his vocal cord issue.
Okay, right.
Okay, that makes sense.
I was like, drugs?
I know. I think he was talking about how he is so happy to be performing again because he's been gone because he had the vocal cord granuloma thing. So he says, right as I was putting a needle through my neck because I was still getting to know this girl and I wasn't going to be able to talk to her, and she was more incredible than I ever thought because she would order for me. I would whisper in her ear, and she would order for me with the waiter, and she would tell people, it's nice to meet you. And we did a lot of whispering when I was in Montana, and I wasn't speaking. Really bad self-service. I've got really bad internet service out there. And a lot of missed drop video...
rambling.
I know. A lot of missed drop video frames. And so she was so patient as to even continue to get to know me and love me. We would be on speakerphone and look at intermittent pictures of each other as they were coming through this really choked satellite. And this is a long time coming for both of us, and I want to dedicate this next song to my Katy, who is... Oh, he does say it's Katy. To my Katy, who is my face to call home. And then he played the song Face to Call Home.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh.
It is sweet.
She was in the audience?
I don't know if she was.
Oh.
But
It's also so funny, like, he probably has, like, a private jet, but he can't get, like, a video signal. Like,
I know.
Reach out to someone. Montana's still in the U.S. Like,
Yeah.
I know, you'd think he could do something about that. And then there was, like, a nice story around this time that John and Katy were in a guitar shop, and they bought a 16-year-old fan a guitar that she couldn't afford.
Oh,
just
that is sweet.
cute.
out
Yeah,
of the
like
kindness. Yeah, of their hearts. It was sweet. Yeah, and then October 2013, their duet, Who You Love, what we mentioned earlier, comes out on his Paradise Valley album.
And did we like that song? I thought it was a little bit of a flop.
Yeah, I
it's
don't...
a little cheesy.
Definitely not one
yeah.
of his best, I would say.
Yeah,
I was
just feel
singing
like,
it earlier.
Yeah.
like, it gets caught in your head, but it's like,
Yeah.
either do, like, a John Mayer sexy dark one or do, like, a Katy Perry pop. And it feels like they were both so
Yeah.
different. So instead they were like, let's just do, like, a slow song. And it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
I do like in the music video, like, because they have a lot of different couples on this mechanical bowl, and they're, like, thrown off the bowl in slow motion, and then they have John and Katy.
That's cute.
I like when they have, like, the up-close shots of John and Katy, and they're, like, very, very close together. Like, you can
cute.
see, like, the...
yeah, I'm going to rewatch it after this.
I know. I've actually only seen it like once, so I should rewatch it too. Yeah.
It is like a commercial, though. You're right.
I just remember there was like this soft lighting filter, you know, kind of like dream sequence type of coloring on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't know. It would have been cool if it was like a little more detailed. You know, the lyrics could have been less generic, but whatever. I guess she did write her verse. That's what he said in an interview. So
Oh, okay.
they really did write it together. He co-wrote some stuff on her Prism album, and he played guitar on a song. I don't really know these songs, but a song called It Takes Two. And that I guess John came up with the name for the title. He said something about her having she was a prism of a wide spectrum of emotions or something. So
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
That would be nice to date a poet, right? Other guys are like, to quote her own text, like, I like your tits. And he's like, oh, like your breasts are like a prism of emotions.
You're a
that send
prism
me.
of emotion. Yeah. It is cute. Yeah. And during this Billboard interview, she said, she started giggling, I guess, and realized she was wearing a John Mayer hoodie and said, I can't believe I'm wearing my boyfriend's shirt. And then she said, he literally is a genius, as is evident from his songwriting. I always tell him, darling, you know, I'm going to have to give you your mind to science after you've passed because we're going to have to understand how all these sparks work. We'll be in bed and he'll be doing the crossword puzzle. Every night he tries to finish it in under 10 minutes. When he puts his mind to something, he really gets it done very well. I always ask him for his help.
Oh,
God, not calling a man a genius. Like, John Mayer already thinks he's a genius, you know?
I know.
for the crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
That is when you're like, when you put someone on a pedestal, though, that's what you are like.
I know.
100%. I remember, like, one of the guys I dated, he would always, like, try to take the stairs instead of the elevator. And I was like, what a sign of, like, a good... I'm like, he's ambitious. He's healthy. Like, the tiniest thing when you're, like, in love, you're like, oh, my God, you know?
Yeah, it's embarrassing to look back. Pretty much everyone I've been, like, head over heels with, I thought was, like, a complete genius at the time.
Me too. And it's crazy when years later you're like, wait, that was just a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
An idiot, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Isn't it wild, those damn chemicals?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, so a month later, she was also on the cover of W magazine. Okay, she's a star. She said she had a crush on John Mayer for a long time and that she was actually dating my crush. She said, I've been a fan of John for years before I actually got to kiss him.
Oh, that is
Pretty
cute.
cool.
Lucky celebrities, like they truly get to date their
know.
crush.
I know. I had such a huge crush on somebody in middle school, but he didn't even know I existed. I was like, he doesn't even know who I am. And then I actually dated him in high school.
Yeah.
And he didn't turn out to be as great as I thought. And I broke up with him. So, sometimes...
That's probably how it usually goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
they can't live up to the expectations of being a crush. Like,
Yeah, talk about
right.
a pedestal. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I know. I think that they did love each other, as complicated as it seems. But I wonder if she ever felt like, I can't break up with him. Like, it's John Mayer, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always had such a big crush on him. I can't break up with him, you know?
Yeah.
It would be kind of hard. In this same W magazine interview, they asked her if she liked being married, which is kind of weird because she's not married anymore. But she said, of course, I really loved it. It was a new, fun, exciting journey, but I like how I am now, and I think all things happen for a reason.
That's nice. The quote of someone who's moved on, not bitterness in that.
Yep. And I guess she has this song on that album called Legendary Lovers, and I just thought that was cool because it's kind of like our podcast.
Yeah,
name.
that could have been a good title.
Yeah, and I guess it was inspired by something she said in an email to John.
Oh.
God, they're very poetic together.
Yeah, I think they were. There were a lot of rumors of them being engaged in 2013, and once again, she's seen with a ring on her finger, which excited a lot of people, but they weren't engaged. I don't know why they do that. And then February 2014, sadly, news comes out that John and Katy have broken up again for a third time, blamed on schedules.
Yeah. It
Once
always
again.
is.
But yeah, based on what, I don't know, I doubt it, kind of.
I feel like at that point, too, if you're a celebrity, like, you would be used to making conflicting schedules work. I mean, I know it's still hard, but...
I mean, if they made it work when he couldn't speak to her in Montana and they were like sending carrier pigeons to each other,
True.
like, yeah.
I think maybe schedules can just be the catalyst for cheating and other stuff. Because, like, if you're around all the time, like, it's harder to be cheating on each other. But if you're not around each other and you're interacting with so many different people...
Yeah.
Then that's a threat.
Like if he's in Europe,
Yeah.
might hook up with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So they broke up. According to page 6, Katy made the decision to end the pair's nearly 2-year relationship after discovering text messages on John's phone from some random girl.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, cheating.
I know, John. I
know, John. We were rooting for you.
I thought that I think he did love Katy in his own fucked up way, but I thought that this was different.
I think he's just a cheater. Like, I think he just is. Yeah.
And then People magazine, I mean, I don't know, but they said another reason for them to break up was their age gap. So now Katy's 29, he's 36, which isn't crazy, but apparently he was kind of ready to more settle down and start a family and things like that maybe, and she wasn't, still wanted to keep partying. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but
Which is so funny because, like, how old is he now? And he's, like, still not married.
I know.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
46, I think.
know.
He's 46.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Wow,
Close to
okay.
50.
It makes me kind of sad because he's been on the record saying many times, like, I want to have family or whatever, but he just can't.
I feel
get
like
it
I just
together.
don't trust guys
Yeah.
who say that because I feel like guys who want it do it. Like, they do it
know.
quietly, they do it quickly. And then I
know.
don't know. I just, like, so many guys who, like, profess that they want marriage. To me, that's also a little bit of a red flag because isn't it, oh, I
Yeah.
want a partner, and then you love that partner so much that you want to marry them.
Yeah.
But going around saying, I want to be married, I want to be married, it's like you don't even care about the person. You just want that
Yeah.
status.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe he, like, has too high expectations or something, and
Yeah. But I
don't
mean,
know.
also, John's dad didn't have him until he was 50 years old. So he
Wow.
might think in his head, like, 50 is when I settle down.
Yeah.
I mean, a man can have kids, like, whenever he
Maybe.
wants. So they have such a different perception of, like, when the age is to get married. And
his dad, isn't his dad, like, 90-something?
his dad's still alive, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know. Maybe he thinks he'll live that long.
Yeah, I'll have a kid at 90.
Yeah. So, yeah, they broke up. Miley tweeted to Katy, girl, if you're worried about, this is all written crazily. It's like, if you are worried, ABT, about where tongues have been, good thing your ex-boo is your ex-boo, because we all know where that been.
Like that tongue has been?
Yep.
Which is funny because was this the era when Miley Cyrus couldn't put her own tongue in her mouth? Remember, like, the bangers.
Yes.
So
Her tongue was always out.
Miley must have been reacting to something Katy had said, right?
Yeah. Something about tongues. And then Katy said, ooh, girl, I'm going to give you the biggest spanking when I see you in the UK, BB.
Dude, Katy Perry's fun. Like, Katy Perry's just fun. Like, I like her. And
she is.
that's the thing with John Mayer. Like, who's, like, the most... John Mayer could date, like, Elizabeth Holmes and then break up and would be like, we're on Elizabeth Holmes' side. Like, that's just that's just who he is. Yeah.
There were rumors that Katy was dating Diplo.
Oh, I could
around-
totally see that.
And then around the same time, John was seen... This is random detail I included. Seen leaving the airport wearing a bathrobe over his clothes. Yet, I thought he still looked cute. But yeah, not sure what was going on with him. She was asked about John in Cosmopolitan, and she said, I'm living in the now and not fantasizing about the past. I have a lot of respect for him still, and I know it goes both ways. There's no bad blood, but I'm sure there will be inspired songs. But then, oh my god, I was shocked by this. Then they were back together. I thought it was really over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over.
That song, yeah. She really lived that song, you know. She didn't just make that song cuz.
Oh, yeah.
She really lived it. Yeah, they were seen on a double date actually with Allison Williams and that guy Ricky Van Veen.
Okay.
They were seen holding hands. And then she performed the Super Bowl, and John and Katy were apparently seen together at a Super Bowl after party, and they're in a picture together with Missy Elliott.
Okay, well, there was a blind about that with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here. And I thought this one was, like, kind of surprising, but it was from Blind Gossip. It says, we've told you before that this female singer willingly got back together with her ex, even though she knew he was using her to save his own reputation. Well, since he was already using her for one thing, he pushed to use her for another. He asked to be included on her recent big project, the halftime show. When that didn't happen, he blamed her and then immediately punished her by sleeping with somebody else.
That's pretty bad.
Do you think it's true?
I could see him trying to be, because didn't like Lenny
Yeah.
Kravitz come out and do like a guitar thing with her? I could see him maybe being like, oh, have me be the guy who comes out.
My gosh.
Which, by the way, like Lenny Kravitz is awesome, but it would have been cool too to have John Mayer come out. Like he could do a little snippet in a Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, I feel like he's perfect for that, actually.
Yeah. I could see her being hesitant though. Like they have such
Yeah,
a rocky
they got-
history. Like
They broke up
Do I-
3 times. Yeah.
do I really want to bring John out? Yeah. Oh, that's a weird situation. And then, okay, that same night, Russell Brand tweeted, Super Bowl may be baffling to the Brits, but halftime show will be amazing. Good luck, KP.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It is sweet, but it's kind of weird he's always around.
Yeah, he is lurking. Yeah.
Yeah. John and Katy went to Disneyland together, May 2015. So this is a couple months after the Super Bowl. And this is when Katy's deep in her Taylor feud.
Mm-hmm.
Then July 2015, so a couple months after that, they break up for the 4th time.
Okay, this better be it.
It's not. He forms a Dead and Company with the Grateful Dead musicians and goes on tour with them. Yeah, I wrote in my notes, this is never ending. John and Katy were seen together being cozy at Allison Williams' wedding, which you talked about earlier. And then in December on the holidays, they were seen together. But it's really unclear, I think, at this point, if they're, like, actually together.
Yeah, sometimes you have that
Yeah.
with an ex. There's that blurry line.
Like, there wasn't that much information about them during this time. So, yeah, holidays together. But then in January, she's seen with Orlando Bloom a couple times.
Okay.
In groups at events. Did she start to move on to Orlando? At the Golden Globe, she's talking really closely to Orlando and whispering in his ear and stuff in pictures. And some people thought she was still with John Mayer at this time. But it seems like by February, she's officially with Orlando Bloom. So I'm wondering if maybe, like, her and John were still hanging out, but...
There were a lot of lines about like her being with Orlando Bloom, but like still seeing John Mayer every once in a while. Which like I feel like, right, they just have that like magnetic pull. So I'm sure that before things were like really firmed up with Orlando, because they're married now, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So I could imagine
with
a
the
little,
baby. They at least have a baby together, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she still had feelings for John, but then it's like, okay, there's this new guy.
Yeah, and also like when you're deciding between, isn't this like such a classic like rom-com trope? You're deciding between like the new promising guy or the old guy who like says that he's changed. And I feel like it's it's always like such a hard decision. It's made a lot easier when you've broken up with the old guy 4 different times, like, oh my God, come on, go for Orlando. Yeah.
Yep. So it seems like her and John, for the 5th and final time, are over.
Damn.
Yep.
Wow. This relationship was a lot more magnetic, back and forth over again than I would have thought. For some reason, I just thought in my head, like, okay, they dated for a year, they made that song together, and then they ended
Yeah, that's
it.
what I thought.
Me too.
That's the first time I heard of them as a couple was with that song.
I know.
Who knows? Maybe if Taylor Swift didn't write Dear John, her and him could have gone back and forth like a ping pong match as well. Like maybe that's just his style.
Maybe, yeah. Because didn't you say that with Jessica Simpson, they broke up like 9 times or something?
I think so,
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want someone to like do their birth charts and like compare them, because it seems like they both have that habit.
Wasn't there a blind item recently that John Mayer was going to be on the Speak Now re-record?
Oh my God.
I see that happening.
How much would that break the internet though if he's the one playing
be
guitar
That'd
on
be
Dear
so
John?
funny. She's single. No.
Oh my God. And he's looking to settle down. He has been for the last 9 years. Wait,
No
why
way,
would
no
I
way.
love that?
I know, I would too. There'd be no way to explain that though.
He wouldn't be able to handle her being a bigger star than him. Although I will
No.
say, like, I have a episode that I've done research for. I'm just waiting for Speak Now to re-release because I think we talked about this when we first met, but like the quotes John Mayer has said about Taylor Swift, there's like this 6-minute long YouTube video that gathers a compilation of all of his quotes. And Katy Perry is right. He is a poet. Like, he says the most beautiful things about Taylor Swift. It's the way every woman wants to be complimented. And it's a little bit weird because he keeps comparing her to a child, but like that childlike energy is like a nice compliment. And he really knows how to like say nice words about someone.
I know. Well, yeah, I guess she's with Orlando now, so seems like it's over.
And he's probably just slutting it up with someone right now, but kind of trying to get married.
Yeah. I do have more, but I know we're at an hour, so.
Yeah, do you want to do like the most fun fact or like craziest thing that happened post relationship?
Yeah. Okay. Here's one. I know what I'm gonna say. Maybe you've heard of it. It's not really related to Katy Perry, but John did this Instagram show that he hosted himself called Current Mood, right? Mm-hmm. And he had Cassie David on it.
There was a blind about them, didn't they? Really? Well, there was a blind that like he was hitting on her and she thought he was like a gross old man, but she like still kept texting him or something.
Oh.
So she was on his little show and she asked him... she was going to ask him a bunch of rapid fire questions, and she said, blink if you've slept with 800 people or something. And he looked at the camera and he didn't blink, and he's laughing. He's like, I can't believe you would ask me that. And then she says, blink twice if you've slept with more than 500 people. And he doesn't blink. And he's like, I can't believe you would say that. I'm in the sub 500 range, by the way, or whatever.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that. And then there's all these headlines saying, John Mayer slept with 500 women or something. So then the next week, he goes, I just want to clarify, I said I was in the sub 500. I've thought about it this past week. I've gone over my dating history, and my number is 6.
Maybe of like girls that he like, I don't know, like shat on or something. Like his number is definitely way more than 6. And I will say too, like also the rumors of like the men that he's hooked up with as well.
What? Wait, what do you know about this? Okay, well, that's interesting you say that because... I'm not surprised, though. It's interesting you say that because I noticed when she was asking that, they kept saying people.
Yeah. It's like when your boyfriend's like, oh, I got like lunch with a person and they ordered this. You're like, okay, so it was a girl. Like, who was it? You know?
Yeah. What did you read about that?
Well, I've heard that
he's been with men.
Him and Andy Cohen have hooked up. And then I heard that like over COVID, him, Shawn Mendes, and Camila Cabello were having threesomes.
Oh, wow.
And he would like sometimes hook up with Shawn Mendes, allegedly, is what I read online.
What's this 6 number? And he also goes, you knew about 5. So maybe he just meant dated?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like I feel like if I reached out in my DMs and on TikTok, I could find at least 17, listeners who have slept with him. So like, I feel like 6 is kind of crazy.
I was cracking up. A random person who has slept with him, and he said 6.
And you're like, that's me, a piece of the pie, a whole slice.
I'm one of 6.
Oh my gosh.
If that was true, if it really was 6, I would be pretty pissed if I was John Mayer that people have like made me out to be.
There's no way it's true. There's no
600,
way.
Yeah.
Because I even like have these, because back in the day, like in Rolling Stone, he said things like, blowing me off is the new sucking me off. How has he slept with 6?
Maybe like
people?
his number that he claims is 6, like that's his number that he wants.
No, he's just got to be lying through his teeth. Like maybe 6 in the past week. Like this man has slept with so many people.
What was his tone? Like, was he smiling when he said it?
No, he wasn't smiling.
Yeah, that is kind of gaslighting.
Very interesting.
Maybe, remember on Degrassi when, I don't know if you watched Degrassi, but Spinner became a virgin again?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he did that and then slept with 6 women since then.
That's okay, so it's technically correct, yeah.
You wouldn't have to think about it if your number was 6. I feel like you would already know.
Yeah, exactly.
He spent the week thinking about it.
He counted it all up.
Got to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's written a lot of songs. since then, it seemed like they're about Katy Perry, like, I Still Feel Like Your Man, and moving on and getting over. People think it's about her. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I got to admit, like, I'm about to blast like Katy and John playlists like tonight in my apartment and just listen and think about it because their relationship's more intriguing than I thought.
Yeah. We usually say like chances people will get back together and do a percentage.
Could we say chances that like they'll hook up again?
Okay, yeah, that might be more likely.
50.
Yeah, I would say so.
Ooh, yeah.
And I hope I get to like watch it because I'm sure they have some bomb sex the way that they keep getting back together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that. 50%. As for getting back together, it seems really minuscule. Maybe like 1%
Yeah.
chance. I don't know. I mean,
No,
could be higher.
I think
but
if
she's like
she
married now.
Yeah, but if that didn't work out, I feel
Maybe
like
10. Maybe 10.
yeah, it's not impossible.
Maybe 10.
Probably higher than most couples we've talked about.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's John and Katy.
Damn. Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Thank
Like,
you,
I thought that I
Shannon.
knew stuff about them, but I didn't. And every time I ride a bull, I'm going to think of their love and how it kind of endured.
Endured through the cheating.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Is your heart filled with pain? Shine